Mr. Wu, did you conclude your thoughts on that subject?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to give you time if you needed it. Thank you for your analysis of what's happened in the court case in New York. And Judge Wilson, it's good to see you here. I just wanted to give a shout out to a fellow Bronx District Attorney alum as well.
Thank you.
I did want to state for the record, this discussion about homicides in New York City and the lack of prosecutorial action by the district attorney in the county of New York, that in Mr. Bragg's first year in office, shootings in Manhattan declined by 20%, homicides declined by 16%. And the data from the NYPD shows that the rates of virtually every index of crime are lower in Manhattan for the first quarter of 2023 than they were at the same time last year. So while we may not like him having prosecuted former President Trump, I think it's false to say, based on the data, that Manhattan is suffering from a rise in violent crime. That is not, in fact, factually the case. Would we like to see it further? As a born and raised New Yorker, of course. But what it is not right now is a place with a crime spree. One of the things that I talked about earlier today was Project 2025. I've shared with the chairman my concern about this plan and the fact that this, I believe, fits squarely within the tenets of this committee to have a discussion about it, to go to those individuals, the authors of this plan. Over 1,000 pages have been written that make up the Project 2025 by the Heritage Foundation, which they and its authors state is the plan for day one after a Trump second-term presidency. Mr. Wu, looking at Trump's playbook, that playbook being Project 2025, which is authored by individuals that are within his prior administration, how would it hurt Americans if these proposals were made into law?
I think one way that I've touched upon is the removal or decimation of the career civil servants, I think is very dangerous. Also, some of the other examples, the idea of removing the general counsel at the FBI to replace that with the political appointees counsel. Again, you lose the experience and the context of that position. And similarly, trying to do away with the 10-year term for the FBI director, which is there to ensure that they can be in place over the course of different administrations. I think all of those, particularly at the Justice Department, would gravely hurt the integrity and steadiness of the department.
I agree. Having been a political appointee in the Bush administration at the Department of Justice, working under the Deputy Attorney General, Larry Thompson, and then under James Comey, who could have fared without a David Margolis, having been in that office, being someone who had been there since the time of Kennedy. He came in as an honors graduate from law school and provided consistency across the board to multiple administrations. Under Project 2025, if this individual did not, if an individual like David Margolis had not passed the loyalty test, would he still be have that position?
No.
One of the key tenets is also to defeat the anti-American left. That's a quote. Trump has promised to root out liberal prosecutors. Individuals on this committee have used the power of Congress to go after anyone who dares to indict Trump on crimes and publicly attack judges who rule against Trump or his defense team. Does this look like a fair and impartial system of justice to you?
No, it doesn't. I think it undermines the democracy.
As a former federal prosecutor for many years, was it your experience that prosecutors in liberal jurisdictions approach the criminal justice system with an anti-conservative bias?
No, it was not.
And what was your experience?
My experience was that federal prosecutors around the country tended to be very independent-minded. Sometimes they would butt heads with what we call Main justice. But I pretty much never have seen an instance that I would identify as a politically motivated federal prosecution.
Thank you. And I'm not going to go into blocking financial aid for American college students if their states permit kids like Dreamers to access in-state tuition, getting rid of school lunch programs, summer programs, taking aim at free speech and free thinking in American universities, aim at renewable energy, and what will make American women second-class citizens by taking a closer to a national abortion ban and restricting access to women's health care and abortion drugs across the market. This, again, Mr. Chairman, I believe is a document that we, along with others throughout Congress, need to take a closer look at.